Welcome to another episode of Smash JT. I spent the better part of my day yesterday with Tommy Tallarico, the head of Intellivision, making the Intellivision Amico. And while I've made a couple videos in the past, especially my first one, that heavily criticized the idea of the Amico, the necessity for it in the market, after I met with Tommy and he informed me about what this thing actually presents to the end user, I guess you could say I've been converted. I know a lot of people are going to go into watching this video thinking that I'm just a fanboy of the console because Tommy took time out of his day to talk to me about it. And in kind of a small way, that's true. Not gonna lie, it was pretty badass being able to spend the day with a living legend like Tommy Tallarico. And let me tell you firsthand, before I even go into talking about the Amico, Tommy is a legit good person, like a human being who's extremely real, down to earth, and genuinely cares about other people. He cared about my input on the system. He cared about critical questions that I had for him and my legitimate concerns about the Amico. Talking about if there was even a place for yet another game console in an extremely flooded market that we find ourselves right now. He didn't get mad. He didn't get angry. He didn't get frustrated with me. He encouraged the questions. He wanted to hear where the concerns were coming from. He wanted to try to make this console as good as he could possibly do it. He introduced me to the team at Intellivision. I met with each one of them individually, talked about what they were doing to contribute to the project, all the inner workings, things that I can't even talk about because there are patents pending on a lot of the stuff they're working on. And honestly, just from what I can say, it was really cool. And you just gotta take my word for it right now, because coming from him, he's kind of, some might say, a marketing guy, a PR puff guy, someone who's just promoting his console, and he'll make it look as good as possible no matter what the cost. He'll just say, yeah, it's amazing, and yeah, we're working on that. But from the outside looking in, somebody like me who was extremely critical of this going into it, had some legitimate concerns. I feel like Tommy addressed most of them. I don't say all of them because there are some concerns that are outside of Tommy's control, outside of Intellivision's control. And those are exterior factors like what the competition comes out with, if there are some surprises up their sleeves that come out between now and when the Intellivision Amico is scheduled to release on October 10th, 2020. A lot of the questions people are asking me, I'm going to try my best to go through and answer them in this video. It might feel like it's a little bit all over the place. I'll tell you guys right off the bat, I got more footage from Tommy's house and Intellivision headquarters than I know what to do with. And if I just kind of edited it together and mashed it into one video, it would be over an hour long of footage. And some people might actually like that. And I'll tell you, some parts of these videos, actually most of them, were really exciting. So I'm still trying to figure out a way to put this together and make it interesting for you guys. But in this video, I just want to talk briefly about the Intellivision Amico, what Tommy told me about it, and something that's new, innovative, and finding a place for it in the market. The Intellivision Amico is not trying to compete with the Microsoft Xbox One or Xbox 5 or PlayStation 5 or whatever the next console generation. No, those are not the competition. It's more along the lines of when the original Nintendo Wii debuted and how it went a completely different direction with dynamic motion controls that completely changed the entire industry. Some people would say revolutionized video games. And while I don't want to say this Intellivision Amico is revolutionizing the video game industry, I think that's a bit much for what this is going to offer. It's going to be something far more special than what a lot of people think it is. It's gonna be like the little box that could. It's the underdog, the fighter, the story that nobody believed in this console. Nobody gave it a chance. And then when it debuts, people who are complaining about it, people who are saying, oh, it doesn't have a shot in hell because there's no market for it, they're going to be quiet. They're going to pretend like they weren't saying anything negative about it because they never took the time to actually find out what it is that makes this thing tick. What is so special about the Intellivision Amico? Every little detail with this machine has been gone over with a fine-tooth comb, and they are still making adjustments to it. Even right now, the controller, which is, to me, the selling point of this console, is extremely advanced. The technology that got put into this thing, maybe not initially when they're just casually playing with the games, but once people start taking these apart and trying to figure out how they work, it's going to blow their minds. It's something that they're working on getting patents for, and some of the technology he showed me. He actually took out the boards, told me some of the things that were going into it, how it's never been done before in a video game controller. What makes this so dynamic and revolutionary that will change the game up for the better, make people enjoy the game experience, most of all, have fun with the games. I feel like too often the video game community at large, I'm going to generalize a little bit, always wants what's next when it comes to graphics and high fidelity, strong 4K, 8K, 10K, whatever the resolution, the crazy graphics, the screen resolution, the frames per second, all these crazy things going into these huge monster beasts of machines. And then you got Google Stadia saying, you don't need to buy those beasts of machines. We'll keep those in our offices and you can just rent them from us every month. There's so much competition in the arms race of video games to keep up with how big graphics and big these AAA budgets can get. And then you look at this Intellivision Amico and you're like, the games are fun. And ultimately, I don't want to point fingers at people, but isn't that what we play video games for in the first place? To have fun? Now, yeah, obviously sometimes you want more of a in-depth experience that will just take you away, capture our imaginations, and make us feel like a kid again. But sometimes I feel like we all get carried away with that on what game can outdo the next one and outperform the storyline and make us feel so encaptured and engulfed with the storyline, and we forget that we play video games for fun. And the Intellivision Amico is not going to be for everybody. And I feel like that's where the confusion comes in. Everyone wants something designed for themselves, and if it's not directly marketed towards them, they instantly brush it away and say, that's a terrible console, I don't need that, it's not for me. Why would anyone care about that? I hear that a lot, actually, and sometimes people don't even go that far with it. They just say, it's not for me, so it's a terrible console. And while it might not be for them, I feel like that's being a little bit too preemptive in brushing off what this is going to give to the end user as far as gaming experiences. The Intellivision Amico is, for lack of a better term, it's made for families. It's made to bring the family back to the living room and play games together. One of my biggest concerns going into this meeting with Tommy is I am a huge fan of the Nintendo Switch, and I just saw Nintendo come out and announce that Switch Fit Adventure, and with that bouncy circle thing, and it looks like it's a really engaging experience where you can work out and move around the living room and play games with the family. And I'm like, people already have a Switch. That's a minor investment for the Switch. So how is the Intellivision Amico going to keep up with the kind of technology that Nintendo's coming out with, albeit very slowly? It took them like 4 years to finally release this thing. How is the Intellivision Amico going to compete with that? And Tommy gave the best answer I ever heard. It's something I didn't even think of, and that is, look at the ads for that Nintendo product. Look at the people playing in the living room. What's one thing you notice about it? And I'm like, what? They're playing a party game and having fun. He's like, it's one person playing it, and everyone is sitting around watching them. Now, how often in your life do you actually have that happen? Maybe once in a while, but more often than not, it's kind of an isolated game experience, and that's just marketing puff pieces from Nintendo to make it feel like people are going to be watching you. Whereas the Intellivision Amico is designed around your family coming together. It comes with 2 controllers. not one, and it's been a hell of a long time since a major game console came out with more than one controller attached to it. And that's kind of in the DNA of what the Intellivision Amico is. I feel like talking right now, I feel like I'm a marketing PR spokesperson for it. I'm not. I am Smash JT. I love video games, and I will proceed to profess my love for video games in whatever way that makes sense. When it comes to the Intellivision Amico, playing with the family, it's made for groups. Yes, it comes with 2 controllers, and for a family, sometimes, obviously, there's gonna be more people, like a kid or 2 kids between the ages of, we'll say, 4 and 10 years old that like to play video games as well. This system automatically connects with your phones with a free app, and some of the technology that he showed me that I can't talk about right now really makes those phones special. And that's really all I can say about that right now, but it's not just a generic phone app to play the game. There's a lot more they have in store for people to make it feel like a true gaming experience when the family comes together. And oh, by the way, if you want those awesome controllers that have all the technology in them, you can buy them separately and attach those to the console as well via wireless charging, where you just set them on top of it and boom, they charge. And the lights on the console are pretty cool. Initially, a lot of people are like, oh yeah, it's just flashy lights and everything to get people's attention, but there's a lot more to the lights on the console than what meets the eye. This thing, like I said, is Tommy's baby. Everything that goes into it has love, passion, care, dedication, time, everything you could imagine. He wants to make sure every little piece of this Intellivision Amico is perfect, is loved by the gaming community. Maybe not at large, because yes, it's made for families in mind, but that is a gigantic market that I think a lot of, especially retro gamers, are just brushing off the side that, I play my retro games, I don't need to buy another console. I play my AAA titles, I don't need to play another console. I feel like people are getting caught up in their own world instead of looking outside of themselves for an entirely untapped market of potential gamers. The casual market that was engulfed by the Nintendo Wii years ago, looking to move on to another console. Or, as Tommy put it, people who are having new babies, new kids, have gotten away from video games for a long time, looking for a way to get back into them. The Intellivision Amico is going to be an affordable price. It's going to be located in brick and mortar stores. It's going to be in stores that a lot of the major consoles aren't even in. Places where families shop. Places where people would not expect to see a game console at an affordable price. This thing, with the technology packed into it, has the potential for a massive success. So before some YouTubers continue to brush this thing off without talking to Tommy, without going to see him and Intellivision headquarters and the technology inside this machine and everything that's gone into it, the blood, sweat, and tears, and years of work, dedication, and research to make this get to the point of where it's at, and oh, by the way, they're not done with it, maybe take a step back. Stop throwing daggers at a device that you don't even know anything about yet. Because, I'll be honest, I learned my lesson. Initially, I brushed this thing off as another generic device, another cash grab for a video game console market that everyone wants in on, the big gold rush of video game consoles right now, where it seems like a new console pops up every couple of weeks. That's what I pegged the Intellivision Amico at when I first heard about it. As time goes by, more exclusive titles. Tommy Tallarico, an industry veteran, over 30 years experience, especially in the sound design, because holy crap, the sound design in this console, I played some of the games of it, the sound blew me away. The games were fun. Everything about this screamed awesome. And that's why I kind of took a step back and say, you know what? I'm not going to criticize this thing anymore, because now that I finally had a chance to play it, I kind of want to stuff a sock in my mouth and say, you know what? Next time, I'm not going to be so quick to criticize a console until I find out more information about it. As of right now, this thing has a ton of potential. I'm excited. I am on Team Amico. Can't wait to see this thing come to fruition and release October 10th, 2020. Looking to get it released in North America and Europe and Mexico and Canada. Still working some things out with the taxes as far as the prices are concerned with it. But Tommy did confirm it's going to have real games, real hardware, real physical games in addition to downloadable titles. There were some things he told me about that I can't share with you yet because, again, there's some real big secrets with it. But ultimately, I just gotta leave it with this thing is going to sell like gangbusters if people finally understand what it offers to the end user. I'm going to leave the video right there. It was a life-changing day. Thank you so much to Tommy and the team over at Intellivision for helping me to see the light. These people worked on the original Intellivision games. They poured their blood, sweat, and tears into those games way back in the day, and they're still there working on games and updating them into the modern era. I'm excited about this thing, and I am going to be a little bit more careful the next time I criticize someone before I know all the information. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, you stay smashing.
Don't worry, I'm a trained professional.
Smash the